slides in the portal and sending a copy to the email list used for the invitation. So if you happen to miss this, it will be available. So as noted, if you did not receive our invitation from National Grid, thank you to your colleagues for sharing it, as it may be possible we do not have your correct email address. To add or update an email, we ask that you communicate the option through the portal, and that'll be given to you later in the presentation. So at National Grid, we start all of our meetings, and I mean all of our meetings, with a safety message. So it's kind of interesting, because when we forget some people at the meetings that aren't part of the grid will say, hey, you didn't start with your safety message. So I thought we'd do something this time, for the time of year that we're in. So we're looking at sun, wind, and water. This time of year, too much of a good thing can seem exciting after a long winter month, or become interference and even dangerous. First, remember, be careful when driving in the sun, and take precautions to cut down sun glare. Keep your distance from other vehicles. Proceed cautiously. Beware of stopped vehicles, or of stopping yourself where others are not aware. I mean, that sun can sneak up on you and blind you in a second. When it's low in the sky, both coming and going to work. And also, you may want to take a few minutes and clean the windshield, so when it does sneak up, it doesn't have the glare and the dirty windshield. Second, if a storm picks up, remember, when thunder roars, stay indoors. Seek shelter away from flying debris and lightning. And better to be safe than sorry. And then third, when there's standing water, make sure you understand the depth before proceeding, preferring not to proceed and waiting for help while keeping out of and away from strong currents. You may not know how deep that body of water is. So, as installers and developers of renewable energy, we are all too familiar with the power of these resources, and when using properly and respect them, safety first. So I always laugh and say, it's either 100 degrees out and tick-ridden, or 10 below zero and 3 feet of snow seems to be our time of year for the field visits. So with that, I want to welcome everybody. At the end of the presentation, there'll be a time for questions. And in the meantime, I want to introduce Nancy Orsini. Nancy is one of the originally founding members, along with Tim Jimmy, Mike Palala, and a couple of retirees that started this DG group, and that we all know and love today. So with that, Nancy, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Gene. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. Today, you may see some new portal features and some not so new. As we continue to implement while listening, hearing, and improving the process and nCAP portal as a tool for all users, included are the following topics that we'll be reviewing: a review of application status, expectations, and best choices, how to sign forms and what could happen, making payments through the portal or by mailing a check and what is needed, the importance of application roles, when and how to add, a few available resources for nCAP to help get you started on our knowledge pages, and finally, customer billing account numbers. Is there a difference, and when best to make changes, and why? Complex applications are those over 50 kW, needing or potentially needing a study. For each submittal, you will see a status bar. Pre-applications may be submitted if desiring to see a site has potential for interconnection, such as for community net metering. No billing account is necessary, and GPS coordinates are an option. Once the pre-application has been completed and returned for your review, you may decide to continue with moving the same information to an application. Applications must have a billing account, either as active, an existing service, or pending active, where a new service is required. Simple applications or under 50 kW have similar status bar. Most of these do not need a study unless, for example, in an existing network, and no application fee is necessary. So what to expect? pre-application or application is not yet submitted, which means we can't begin review. A case owner on our screening team is assigned after the application is submitted. After a review, and once a decision is made by the developer to continue, a job owner is assigned to walk you through to interconnection. Again, a pre-application or application in draft will not be reviewed until submitted. All forms must be in the portal. Emails are not preferred. We prefer that you upload documents to each form or as an attachment to the application itself. There are several timelines which are reflected in milestones. One example, a fee is necessary for repayment when moving a pre-application to an application if not submitted before payment is due per the tariff. Remember again, a pre-application move to an application is also placed in draft to allow developers to present more information and is unseen by the utility until submitted. If you have any questions, please use the Contact Us button, preferably before submittal, or comment on the case through Chatter after submitted. Only use emails when absolutely necessary, as we desire to have all communication related to the application within the portal. And remember, I can't stress it enough, when in draft, utilities will not be able to review an application until it is actually submitted. Timelines are reflected when milestones showing dates started, due, and when ending. You can see only active milestones or all milestones, and ultimately, you would want to see there are no pending milestones needing your action, such as a payment due, more information, or a decision to be made. Milestones may be determined by either calendar days, which usually are to move the application process along, and business days, which usually are driven by the tariff. Many people ask us, why are there two milestones for the same status? When tariff decisions are made, as in this statement, mentioned are 10 and 30 business days where a decision is necessary. So what if the decision is made, or what if the decision is not made? Therefore, there are two milestones. This date shows time allowed per tariff before decision must be made, where this date shows time will run out or will be over in the application process and possibly has not met a tariff requirement. For example, there are milestones set as reminders to submit information when the system has been installed and a meter swap is necessary. So just in case it was overlooked in a very busy schedule, when some milestones are not met, the application will go into pending withdrawal, which we'll discuss next. So in summary, and in this example, there are two milestones shown. One for 10 business days for the developer to request and make a necessary decision with an application, and one for 30 business days for the application moving to pending withdrawal from queue if there is no response. At certain points in the application process, you will be able to update or make changes to your application. And we will use the Change Application button. This is usually for changes such as a billing account name, system size, or to upgrade an existing system where further review or a re-review of the changes will be necessary. We do suggest only making changes to the billing account during screening or right before connecting. This is due to various work requests needed for field work or meter installations, which are used to give other departments direction, as an example for necessary construction by the utility. Each request must be associated to the application and is done so through a billing account and premise number. Therefore, changing the billing account number often can lead to delays. Notifications are triggered with the update request alerting the job owner. The change review process is very similar, where submitting new information creates a needed review for necessary updates, such as new documents. Again, change reviews are best used when in certain statuses and not randomly throughout the life of an application. Assuring the outstanding work orders and field preparation requests are being readied and will be completed at the proper location and at the proper time. Pending withdrawal occurs after an application role is notified of an upcoming withdrawal and will be removed from the queue by National Grid and your job owner for the project. But please make sure to contact us before going into pending withdrawal. Otherwise, the application process will be interrupted prematurely and it can be difficult or not able to be properly reversed. So how do we perform an electronic signature versus an offline signature? An offline signature requires a signed document to be uploaded with the associated form. The portal now displays which forms must be signed or are required. Here you see which forms must be signed. Whether that is done by e-signing or offline sign by uploading documents is a decision to be made by you, the developer. All forms, especially required, must have at least one, if not more, buttons completed. And when created by the portal, will have these same buttons, which are Prep, View, Edit, and Upload. The Prep button is for choices to be made or is used for equipment assets to be entered, which we can be discussing in another training. The View Edit is used to see the form and may also be necessary to enter required information, such as the estimated date of the interconnection shown on Appendix B. The Upload button is for attaching documentation to the existing forms. When e-signature is chosen, the applications will not move from application draft to application submitted if there are forms that still need to be electronically signed. What this means, when you finalize submission, the application role you have acknowledged as a responsible party for each form needing a signature will receive an email that needs to be completed. So please make sure if they haven't received an email or are unsure that they check their junk mail folder. Once the email is opened, the cursor will start at the beginning and continue to the end of the document until e-signing is completed. An e-sign request creates an equivalent agreement to be signed and can be found under the related agreements, such as in this example here. Online payments versus mailing payments. You must generate an invoice for sending with a check, or you may choose to pay online. Please do not send offline payment without an invoice. To do so, click the prep bar associated with the payment form and choose Generate Invoice. Another window will open showing an invoice which has the case number and amount as well as the correct mailing address for payment of the check. To print this, right-click the mouse, choose Print, where you can install a driver on your computer that will save the form as a PDF or print to a printer. Once this is completed, you can return to the previous screen. Saving to PDF allows you to upload the invoice with a copy of the check to the payment form. And please make sure to include this invoice with a check when mailing the payment to make it easier for our processing. To pay online, you can review these links that will walk you through the online process. Please note that the bank has a separate website which uses a separate username and password for their bank site. And please follow the directions closely and contact us with any questions. There are common application roles for each application type, complex or simplified. Extra roles can be added as necessary. Many applications include, as a default, the developer, the application owner, the billing customer, the system owner, while larger projects may include landowners, inspectors, electricians, or others needed to consult on larger projects, as well as the option for installation contractors, such as ones that you may have subcontracted. Update application roles to make changes to emails, phone numbers, billing account numbers, or adding additional roles, and then make sure you save. All fields marked with a red line are required for each application role. Please make sure the emails are correct for e-signature requests to be received via email. Here's a list of potential application roles used in all 3 jurisdictions in National Grid. Not everyone may be necessary in each state. Here is a list of knowledge pages and resources for getting started with an application, and some were discussed in this training. Please note, you always can use the search bar to locate a topic of interest, and remember, less can be more when searching. You can also use this search bar to find the application you are looking for by putting in the application number. Now, for a brief explanation of National Grid account numbers. There's active billing accounts and there's pending active billing accounts. Active are existing services or active prior to interconnection. Some may need upgrades to service or already have an upgrade requested. So this may cause an interruption in the interconnection process. So it is best to be informed. Please work with both the customer and the utility to move the request along prior to interconnecting. Otherwise, delays or unexpected holds with the application may be necessary. Pending active means no previous service and a new service has been requested. You may request one by following directions at this link or see the status of a work request you have at this link by entering the number you received. Remember, all new services need to be completed in the field, so work request requirements must be finished in the proper order before meters can be installed. Otherwise, delays or unexpected holds may be necessary. So in summary, what have you said and we have heard are focused around 3 main needs. The first one, visibility. You have stated where finding it is difficult to determine what utility may be waiting for. Again, remember to check your milestones and your statuses. And you've also said we've seen processes in other departments not completed or updated, causing lag. We would like better understanding and visibility. Well, now you can check the work request status on the portal as well. Navigation of the portal. Check the terminology of the portal and become familiar with what an application role is and when to use. Use knowledge pages as a resource and the search bar. Communication. You also said you would like several avenues to communicate. There's chatter where you can make notes right on the case to your case assigned job owner. You can contact us on nCAP homepage to send DG inquiries, which can be used for general questions. And then please use the how-tos in the portal. Last, you can use the DG email, DGS New York email as necessary. So right now, we'd like to open up for questions. If you have a question, would you please use the chat function in the webinar? If questions can't be answered now or will take longer than we have time for, I believe we may have more time. All questions will be answered. They'll be emailed with a presentation, and they'll also be posted to the portal in the knowledge pages, where they can be found by using your search bar. And soon, we plan to have completed a guide for your use where all the topics will be organized within the application process and the timeline. So we do continue listening in order to improve your interconnecting experience through nCAP. Now I'll turn it over to Gene and see if there's any questions.
No questions yet. Thank you, Nancy. And Nancy, I'd like to reinforce that what Nancy said is that we are listening. When people make a request, we share it amongst ourselves and we try to come up with a remedy for it. Tariff changes are happening frequently, so keeping the tools up to speed are monumental task, and folks that are doing it are doing a great job. So I do have a question. In my application, the chatter function is disabled. How can this be enabled? Nancy?
Okay. I absolutely have not seen that. I will get an answer for you. And it's just in your sign-on, or would it be with other people in your company signing on? But I will find that out.
Yep. All people signing
All
in.
people from your company. Okay. I will find that out for you, and I will email you directly. Thank you.
Question, Nancy, from Procedure milestones for the same name entries. Why can't you label one? Same name entries. Why can't you label one was a decision dating and another for the actual pay date?
That's actually a good suggestion. We did label them the same name because they're for the same status or function in the portal. But I do like that suggestion, and I will see. I will take it to the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nancy. I have a quick question. I know we've spoken a little bit over email, but just about getting access to the portal once the project is completed from a subscriber management standpoint and billing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So just wondering how we can get access or grant access to other members of our company once the project is completed.
Okay. Our original plan with the portal when it was designed was usually when a project is completed, there's nobody that needs to have access to the application itself, mainly for not changing important information. However, we do realize there are some functions such as billing, especially now with the community net metering. Mm-hmm. Right, that will need some extra handheld. So we are looking into how best to make this happen. The other concerns we have, and because it wasn't easy, straightforward, of course. The other concerns we have is, were you the original owner of the application? We have some yes, we have some no. And also, what should you have access to? What shouldn't you have access to? So yes, we are looking at short-term answers for you specifically, and then we're going to look for long-term answers as well. Sometimes the long-term answers do take a little longer to implement. However, I would like to assure you that we will work on some business processes with you as well to make sure that we won't stop the process at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I use the portal and especially when sending sensitive information with our community net metering customers. So correct. Yeah, just kind of wanted to follow up and make sure that.
No, and we're gonna have another training session in a few weeks to discuss community DG, feeder billing. So a little more of those questions will be answered.
Okay, great.
And one last note on that, I do want to point out that we are trying to implement distributed generation into our customer portal where they already have access to the bills. So we're in the planning stage of adding that information in so they can see what they are getting from the community net metering and or remote net metering projects.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy, Shashank here. Can I chime in for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm just reading the questions. So Rich Golden also says when you're uploading and on the related pages, there should be a project home button that takes you back to the first page of the project. So this is something that will definitely be made note of, Rich. I think, instead of the home page, all the forms that are visible, especially only the forms that are pending an action on your part, only those are visible. All the other, related pages are not visible on the portal. That's how it's been built. But, definitely I will, Nancy, we could definitely make a note of this. And also the next one is Ram Srivastava says, where is the link that shows capacity available at a prospective site for CBG projects of 2 to 5 megawatt size? So for that, if you again go to the knowledge pages, there's something called a hosting capacity map. And if you can look at the hosting capacity map, there's a like a 20-minute tutorial that shows you how to go and check the hosting capacity map. So all you have to do is just Google National Grid System Data Portal, and that will take you to National Grid's hosting capacity. And this is also, as Jean mentioned, this is the second part of our training that we are planning. And how to exactly navigate the hosting capacity is also training that will be provided. But as of now, it is pretty user friendly, and we can definitely plan this. But as of now, you can just go to National Grid System Data Portal or Google National Grid Hosting Capacity Map, and you'll be able to see all the capacities on a particular feeder, substation, etc.
Thank you, Shashank. And please note, we are going to take a copy of all these questions and answer them again individually and submit them on the portal as well as into the email. Greg, if you are concerned that there's a milestone missing, please let us know. The milestone should follow the tariff. I actually think we have extra milestones, and that being because of the process itself. For example, if an application is left in the portal longer than it should be at an open status, we have milestones that will close that out in time. So please let us know which milestone you think is missing. You can either chat it on the case itself or submit it through the Contact Us DG inquiry.
And something I've gotten a habit of doing is verify the milestones created, just as a precaution. So after any action that you take where you know a milestone's being created, verify that the milestone was created, and if it wasn't, then bring it to our attention. It has happened, but not lately. So, there's another question, Nance?
Sure. And I agree with you, Rich. When you are deep into pages, yes, that is a great suggestion to put a home page to the beginning of the application itself. We do have a home button, but that takes you back to the whole list. So that's another great idea that I will bring to the team. Next question, can you explain what the tech sheet form is supposed to be and used for, especially if it's distinct from manufacturer's cut sheet, certificate of eligibility, inverter verification test forms? Shashank, would you like that?
Am I on mute? Oh yeah, so no. I'm not on mute. Okay. Yeah. So these are just for different forms that they're not required Red Star items, but it is greatly appreciated if you could submit and upload all those forms. Now I have seen the screening team has seen cases in which the tech sheet, manufacturer cut sheet, and inverter verification test, all these are uploaded within one single form. Generally Appendix B, or all these are submitted within tech sheet. But yeah, I mean they do look redundant, but tech sheet actually involves the inverters verification test, manufacturer cut sheets, etc. So that's what tech sheet generally means. So you can do it both ways. You can either submit all these documents within the form that is tech sheet, or you could submit it in different forms, such as manufacturer's catalog, cut sheets, certificate of eligibility, inverter verification test, etc. So the way this has been built is all these required documentation, forms that are generated, they're generated in accordance with Appendix F of the New York SIR, which gives a checklist of what should be made available to National Grid during application submittal process. So that's just what it is. You can use it either ways.
Thank you.
Something else to consider with the forms. The forms are, this system is used across all of our jurisdictions. So some of the forms that are created aren't necessarily specific for New York or upstate New York. So, and what I like to see when I upload a form, I usually put the file name of the form and when I uploaded it and who uploaded it, just to keep clarity as the most recent documents. So, but we're learning as we go here. So. Nance, is there anything other questions?
Yes, I see 3 more questions. Ram has said, who do we contact for commercial industrial energy conservation incentives when combined with renewable power? Well, I would submit, first I would start by submitting through the contact us button and email, explain exactly what incentives, because there's so many incentives right now. And we have to look at the tariff and see what can be combined, because many of them cannot be combined. We do have a billing department now that we can discuss with them as well to resolve that question. So if you could submit that again. Just for a little more clarity, from what department the industrial energy conservation incentives and what they are coming from. There's 2 more. I've asked, yes, Rich, you've asked to have our inverters that are on the PSC site list put into the default list in the portal. Yes, we have sent them on. We do have somebody working on that. And we realize with the portal there comes a lot of maintenance. We're working on, currently we're working on automation of some of the portal as well. So assets and the products in our database are very important to us right now. So I will follow up on that for you. I saw another one. How do we find the solar projects that are already in queue based on previous projects? If they do not move forward, capacity may be available for new community solar projects. I agree. Again, when an application comes in, it is accepted. When it's accepted, not submitted, but when it's accepted, it's put into our queue. And if it doesn't move along, there are several rules that we have our, especially our specialist Kim Peterson checking on to make sure they follow forward. We also have job owners checking on these as well. Sorry?
Hello? Yeah,
Hello?
my name is Yogesh, and I just need to know that in one of my projects, I have like 4 tabs in the milestone called preliminary studies, preliminary result delivered, pending customer decision, on which 2 are complete and 2 are active. The active ones have a date which is like old one, and because of that I'm unable to finalize this project. So what do I do in this regard?
Do you have a specific job owner, or this is something that Shashank, can you look into as well?
Oh, Yogesh, is this what you emailed me about yesterday?
Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a special case, Nancy. What has happened is, the substation was at capacity, and therefore they had to withdraw the project. Now they're trying to reinstate the project, and they're having issues trying to upload all forms and finalize submission.
So we can take that offline, right, Shashank, and
Okay.
all right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll take it offline. Nancy, this is one of the issues. I mean, Yogesh's email, had forwarded to you.
Right.
Yeah. So we will talk to him, after after the call. And then just a second.
Okay.
Is the developer selecting and creating the forms appearing on the list, or does the portal create them automatically based on need? So this is Mike Roach. Mike, what happens is this depends on the type of form. So for example, Appendix B, Form K, etc., these are automatically generated by the portal based on the information that you have already provided up until that point. But some documents such as 3-line diagram, site plan, Appendix H, either offline signed or e-signed, all of these documents should be uploaded by the customer.
Okay. And Greg says, is there a preference to have an old document either deleted or left? My preference is leave it, please. Auditing trail is very important to me personally. So if you leave it, we can see what was supposed to be versus what is actually happening. Otherwise, it sends up red flags for me as a business analyst, and I'd be asking you anyway. So yes, please leave them, and we will know based on their date which came first.
And,
Okay.
and especially the documents that are legal documents, the Form Ks, Appendix Bs, and even some of the PE stamp drawings. You know, they've helped us many times reverse
Yes.
engineer or backtrack. So
Yes.
there's no reason to delete it. We have plenty of capacity. So thank you.
And Jean, I think this question from Jillian is for you. You see that? Okay. If a project requires a transformer upgrade, will you be adding more information to the application within the portal for us to see the status? And planning and design requires transformer being upgraded. And currently, you can only see the hold reason, the transformer review.
There is a way in the portal for that in the future, and that would be through case comments. Is there anything else you want to add, Nance?
I would like to add that. One of the new features is that you can see work request statuses with those links that we will send to you. If you're giving the work request number, you can definitely, either by yourself who probably requested the transformer or the customer, you can type that in and you should be able to see the status, which is a great feature as well.
That is new too, Jillian. So
yep.
Thank you for the question.
Okay. You are welcome. So, Ram, you're asking who's managing incentives for green measures at dairy farms to reduce emissions and energy use. I would think that would be your job owner or the billing department.
Well, that's actually energy efficiency question, I believe.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
And there is a gentleman that energy efficiency website can be accessed through the National Grid website, both for commercial and residential, and it does include a link for agricultural. And I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right.
And,
I just wanted to make one more comment, or Jean, you can do that.
No, go ahead.
Our pre-scheduled meeting for VDR value stack process training is going to be postponed. We are rescheduling that either end of May, beginning of June. There was a recent order that just came out that, well, people are digesting, and we want to make sure that we have that information available to you during that training as well. Okay.
Thanks, Nancy. That training is going to be inclusive of how a bill will look as well. So for folks that are DER developers, may want to have people online to see that as well. So stay tuned. We're going to have periodic training like this as things come up and we get enough solutions. We'll schedule them. So with that, having no more questions, I'm going to wish everybody a good day and thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.